Welcome to Empowered and Unstoppable, the show where high-achieving women crush self-doubt, ditch imposter syndrome, and step boldly into their greatness. I'm your host, Megan Bunnell, and together we'll unlock the mindset, strategies, and confidence you need to create unstoppable success on your terms. Let's dive in. Welcome to another inspiring episode of Empowered and Unstoppable, the podcast where we ignite brilliance and spark transformation and really support you in breaking boundaries to live your most epic life. I'm your host, Megan Bunnell, and today's episode is one I know is going to fuel your fire in the very best way. My guest today, so thrilled to have her, is someone who doesn't just talk about creating an epic life, but she embodies it and teaches others to do the same. So Jane Applegath, is that how you say that, Jane?
Applegath.
Applegath.
As in the. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Jane Applegath. Let's try that again. Gath.
Yep.
Jane Applegath. Should have asked you that. Okay. Jane Applegath is a powerhouse creative intelligence coach, the visionary founder of Epic Vision Zone, and is a certified VUCA Max instructor who's on a mission to ignite a revolution of female freedom through entrepreneurship. I love that. She's packed more in her backstory than most of us do in 3 lifetimes. An award-winning financial advisor, a television producer with 2 decades of experience, creative scriptwriter, yoga instructor, and now an embodiment of genius thinking and bold creativity. Her framework, it's VUCA, which stands for Vision, Understanding, Clarity, and Adaptability, isn't theoretical. It's really forged in her own story, navigating volatility and complexity and rapid change. That's helping women to convert chaos into clarity and definitely dreams into action. It's more than just a show, her Epic Vision Zone. It's a movement, a video podcast experience. She streams on YouTube and all the major platforms. And that Epic Vision Zone really brings trailblazing females. I'm going to start that again. The Epic Vision Zone brings trailblazing females and yes, males too. You're not left out. But any entrepreneurs and thought leaders together to really spark transformation and entrepreneurial genius. It's like your living room just got lit on purpose. So if you've ever felt stuck or buried under your doubts or unsure how to break through, Jane is the expert who shows you not just the path, but how to set it ablaze. Jane is the woman to turn to. So Jane, welcome to the show.
Megan, thank you so much. And thank you for that incredible introduction. I'm going to have to save that.
I love it. I'll just follow you around to all the places you go and I'll just
Thank
introduce you. I couldn't say enough nice things about you. Absolutely.
My Lord, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here, truly. But before we dive into all of that brilliance, we're going to start with something kind of fun. So I ask all my guests this kind of silly question. Are you ready? Okay.
Right.
We're going to pull back the curtain just a little bit. What is one weird or quirky or just very human thing about you that your clients or followers might not know?
Okay, I have that ready. I love to do handstand.
What?
I knew that would blow you away. It's so unexpected.
What? Where do we do these handstands? When does this come into play? I love this.
Okay, I learned to do handstand only about, I'd say 4 years ago.
Okay.
I've always, yoga has been in my framework for some time and very passionate about it. But I have discovered that even during a yoga class, it's not enough time. There's an actual training that goes into what you need for handstand. So I took an online course during COVID. I was determined to get on, up on in handstand. I could do all the yoga stuff, but I just couldn't get the handstand. So I love it because it challenges me. And every time I do it, I have to tell you, Megan, it empowers me. I don't know. There's something about handstand that resonates so deep inside. I just, I love to do it.
I love that so much. And so is this like a daily thing? Do we do handstands? Is there a daily practice that you have?
I I used to do it. Because there's a whole warm up that I do. I do the
Okay.
program. So, there's all about the wrist, and you have to, have the stamina and the core and all that. So I do the program. I used to do it 4 times a week. Now I'm doing Pilates plus the handstand. So I do the handstand at least twice a week, and then I do Pilates to break it up. But yeah, I used to do it 4 times a week. And if I didn't do it, I just didn't feel right. I wasn't.
I I love this so much. This is my favorite answer so far, by far. And now I feel like I have a new like challenge on my
Challenge.
list. I want to do it.
Megan, it's fabulous. I tell you, it just makes you feel so empowered. And yes, it takes a while to get up there, and there's steps that you take. And the first time I got up, I'm on the wall. My next challenge now is to get off the wall, to
Okay.
balance in the middle of the room. But I'll tell you, the first time I got up on the wall, I was like, woohoo! You'd think I'd won an Olympic race. I was
I
just,
love
and
it.
every time I do it, I just feel so proud of myself. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
I love it so much. I can imagine how amazing and powerful that feels. I go to the gym, and one of our kind of common exercises is called a wall walk,
Mm,
where you're face down and you walk yourself back up the wall until your
love it.
nose touches the wall, which is obviously different than doing a handstand, all on your own. But there's something incredible about getting all the way vertical, touching my nose to the wall. And it took me forever to get there because it's a ton of strength and
Yeah.
belief in yourself because you're afraid you're going to fall over and all the
Mm.
things. So I'm going to turn myself around and start handstanding instead.
Yes,
I
do
love
it.
this.
And it really makes you feel empowered, and don't give up. That's the whole thing. I never gave up. I was like, I'd get halfway, then fall down, then get halfway, then I'd do the exercises, and I just kept doing it. And it's not about slamming yourself up against the wall. That's why I
Right.
took the course. There's a whole process to it. So yeah, I'll share the link to the
Yes.
gentleman because he's really good.
Please do. I love that. And thank you. What a fun uh, curtain pullback into what a wonderful human you are behind all of this strategy and success. That was a shocker. I'm not going to lie. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so you talk about helping women really own their vision, right?
Mhm.
And value. And that's powerful, but let's be honest, there's a lot of women listening right now who probably feel like their vision is maybe buried under, I mean, only I can imagine, laundry piles and dishes and
Mhm.
client calls and self-doubt, right? All the things.
Mhm.
And so let me ask you this. What is the very first step that someone can take when they feel completely disconnected from that vision?
The very first step is to allow yourself space. Clarity comes in a whisper, not in a shout or loud. And you can only tap into your inner intuition and your inner knowing in a time of quiet or a time of reflection. And I think during COVID, that gave us an opportunity
Yes.
to reflect. And I think that's why a lot of individuals, particularly women, started to look at their lives and say, this isn't exactly what I had in mind for the rest of my life. But you get caught on the wheel. We're all,
Yes.
well, I still get caught on the wheel. I'm sure you get caught on the wheel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and the wheel is what I call the static, because we are all broadcasting towers. I believe that we're all an energy source, and every single thought, every single word that we utter, and every belief and habit that we have is broadcasting a frequency. And that frequency, whether it be good or bad, is either tuning into your future or pulling you back into your past. So how do we
Mm.
center ourselves? We center ourselves by gifting ourselves the time. Maybe even if you can't do it on your own, go to a meditation class, go somewhere where you can sit and just reflect, and then put some words down on paper. I always say it has to be something that lights your heart on fire, and I don't mean that in a cliche kind of way, because if it I always say to people, tell me what your vision is if they have one, and then I ask them, how does that make you feel?
Yes.
It's about the emotion, the energy and motion, because if you don't feel anything for that statement, then you got to go back to work, because that's not resonating with who you are. And so it is work, but I first say give yourself space and time, and don't get frustrated, because the more frustrated you become, the more static you create, and the less you're going to be able to connect with that frequency that is telling you this is where you need to go, because it's a rediscovering. It's not a
Yeah.
transfer. This is what I feel, Megan. I feel that it's always a rediscovering. We come like a bright, shiny diamond into the world.
Yes.
We're all born with creativity. We're all born with courage. I said, look what it takes to learn how to walk. Did you
Oh, yeah.
stop trying just because you fell? No, you got back up because you had no fear. you know, it's the same with riding a bike. But as we grow older, we get all this, what I call static, which is the beliefs, the habits, the social, um, you know, uh, priorities, whatever it might be, the conformity. Okay, it starts in school, unfortunately, but that's not a story for another time. But but yeah, that we can go down that road. But
For all day, all day.
yeah, but basically, it's really about about remembering that you are the shiny diamond, and we have to carve away at all of the debris that has been piled on you. And to do that, we need some time. We need space.
I love that. And what a simple, truly simple first step to take. And all of us can do that, if we make that our priority. And I love, what you were saying about if you realize that this isn't the life that you want to live, something has to change. And if your vision is whispering,
Mm.
ignoring it just can't be an option if you want that to be the life that you live. So
Write it down. Write it down.
yes, I love that. And you are so right that it really is how you feel. So many of my clients, we change nothing in their life besides how they think and how they feel. And instantly, so much is better in life, right? And yet nothing's changed because it really is about how you feel. And so I would imagine following that vision, that passion, it's no different. It has to be that lit up, exciting, can't not do it feeling. I
Right.
love that. I love it. Well, as you're speaking, I'm constantly impressed with your wisdom and your ability to make it simple for us to understand and really pulling at our heart and our mind strings of what's important to us. So, before we get into any more juicy golden nuggets that you have, I would love for our listeners to be let in a little bit on how you stepped into your empowered and unstoppable self. So, could you give us a little backstory, even those fall flat down on your face moments? Like, how'd you get here?
I always say life is a practice, and we're always practicing. And it's also a roller coaster. So it's been through a lot of trial and error, and I'm still on a path. I'm still on a journey. I mean, I believe that's why we call life as a journey. So, I mean, there were breakthroughs when I was young. In my 20s, that's when I was in the brokerage business and very successful. So you can imagine at that age, having the success that I did, and dealing with some finances that I dealt with, because I had clients with portfolios, and frankly, at times I would pinch myself and say, I don't understand why these older people are giving me all their money, but
Yeah,
I guess I
yeah.
must have. But anyway, that story leads to the fact that I was in a very male dominated industry. And when
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to move from, I was we call them assistants to 4 brokers. And I saw what they were doing and heard what they were doing. And I was doing most of the marketing for them and all the other stuff. And I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute, they're making all these fat commissions and I'm getting stuck on a salary. I can do this. So I made up my mind while I was working as an assistant for 4 brokers. Plus, I took the course to get my license at night. Now I reflect and I go, boy, I don't know how I did that, but I aced the course. And of course, you have to step out of your comfort zone. That was the first thing. But all of these things I didn't know back then. We didn't talk like we do today. Everything
No.
was like, here's the career. This is what you need to do and stick with it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And so I went to my boss and I said, okay, I've got my license now. I want to become a broker here in this firm. And he just laughed at me. He said, no, you
Oh,
can't do this, Jane. It's like the male thing. And I'm like, Okay. And he was Australian on top of it, you know, even worse.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, fine. He just ignited a fire under my ass. And I was
absolutely.
so pissed off. So I kept going to other, you know, behind, you know, on my spare time, going on interviews, and I got a job at another firm and became a top producing broker. Well, I bumped into this guy at one of our, you know,
Ooh.
soirees, and he came up to me, and this is while I was a top producer now. And he's like, "Oh, Jane, I see you're so successful. How would you like to come back?" I'm like, "No."
No,
Can you
that
believe it?
ship sailed.
Yeah, exactly. That ship sailed. So that was my first foray into, okay, you've got to step up to the plate, or you know what? There will be those who will just hold you down, because I was
Yeah.
really good at being an assistant, you know, and that's what happens sometimes when you're really, really good at your job. The upper echelon doesn't want to promote you because they know you're so good, and how are they going to find somebody to replace you?
Yeah, they need you right where you are.
Exactly. So you need to realize that, become aware of it, and then just hunker down and call out to friends, call out to associates, whatever you need to do to start your path, and just take the reins for yourself. So that was one of the first things. And then, of course, you know, I stopped working in the brokerage business, and everybody thought I was crazy because I had such a great, you know, accounts and business. And
You made it. You were there.
right. But back in those days, you know, we never talked about aligning with your purpose. That we didn't talk in words like we do today, you know, and I didn't even know what it was, but something didn't feel right. It was my
Yeah.
intuition. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I mean, I was handling people's money, and it was just grating on me. Because I mean, the firm pushed me to make more money because I was a top producer. And my clients were like, well, I didn't get the top, or I didn't get the bottom. And why? It was just so much stress and so much money dealing that I was just like, okay, I'm done with this. So I walked away, and that took a lot of nerve. But you know what, Megan? I don't know what is in me, but when I'm done with something, I'm done. I
Good
just
for you.
I just said I'm done. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I could explain it today, but I couldn't then. I said I'm just done. You
Yeah.
know, so when you have that feeling of intuition, listen to it, because your intuition is your it's like your compass. And it only
Yes.
speaks to you when you allow it, and you need to listen to it. So I walked away. We moved to the United States. I'm Canadian by birth, by the way. We moved here. We won the green card lottery back in the day when they had it. And then that was a whole new thing. So, you know, I did work for the film festival, and I got into production because I've always loved creativity and imagination. And then when the '08 crash came,
Mm-hmm.
that particular time was what brought me to my knees. My husband was in the construction business, much like yours. He was doing custom homes, and poof, gone. Everything. I'm not sure how it was back in where you are, but here you could hear a pin drop.
Oh, yeah.
Businesses were closing left, right, and center.
Absolutely.
There was nothing. There was no work. It just evaporated. And we had no income. We lost our house. We weren't extended. We didn't have many properties or have mortgages coming out the wazoo, which I know a lot of people did at that time, because, you know, the real estate market was insane.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We just had our condo, but we lost it, and we actually had to move back to Canada for a while for him to get a job, because there was nothing for me either. I mean, there was just nothing. And so that was an interesting experience, because we had lived here for so long. I'd forgotten the hustle and bustle of Toronto, which is where we're from, and I didn't like it. I was like, oh my God. And
Get me out of here.
I have family there. It was cement city, towering
Yeah.
apartment buildings, rat race like you have never, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
subways, the whole thing. I was like, oh, I can't stand it here. The energy is so, everybody is in a miserable mood, even though they're all making a lot of money. And my sister said it's because they're all trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's, my sisters live there still. And I was like, okay, I don't care. I just don't want to be here.
Yeah. This is not for me.
That's right. So we finally moved back, thank God. We were only there for 8 months, but it seemed like 8 years. And that's when I got into yoga when I came back, because I was like, this isn't working. I've got to find something that's going to be mine, and I
Yeah.
can fit and I can help heal and so on and so forth. So find something that resonates with you, because that's what I did. I was doing a lot of soul searching. I love Joe Dispenza. I was reading Joe Dispenza. I was learning about breaking the habits of being ourselves. I was learning about neuroscience and neuroplasticity. That just fascinates me, and learning about who we are as an energy source. So that that resonated with my brain, and so I was able to, bring the pieces together. I became an instructor and started teaching, and then from there, I've come full circle with the VUCA course that I've certified in, and also the podcasting, which I will tell you that step in my life. And I hope I'm not going on too long here, but Megan,
No,
that
I'm
was
loving all of it. I'm loving all of it.
okay. So because that's why I say it's a practice, it's a journey. I mean, this
Yes.
is like anyway. So the podcasting started during the pandemic. So look at those big catastrophic things that happen in that we have no control over, like the '08, I called it depression, and
Yep.
then COVID. Well, COVID was like, okay, what can we do now? Because the studio closed down. She
Yeah.
kept it going virtually for a year, but then she had to close it down because she just couldn't afford it. And so I said, okay, let's
But
look
now.
at something new. So podcasting came up, and I tell you, I'm telling everyone out there, I was scared to death to do. I was the one behind the camera. I could write scripts all day long. When I was a television producer, I was writing the scripts, I was booking our locations, I was doing everything but filming and editing. So I could do that no problem. But this business about getting in front of the camera, I was like, I didn't even do Facebook Lives. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So that was my first entree. I said, okay, I'll do a Facebook Live. And I felt like an idiot. I was like, oh, this is so stupid. Anyway, so I called a friend that I knew, and I said, look, I'm doing a podcast. Would you mind if I interviewed you? She's a psychologist. She said, I'd love to. This would be great. And thank God I knew her, but it was a Q&A kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so slowly but surely I gained my footing, and I found that I always enjoyed people. I've always enjoyed learning, and I have an extreme sense of curiosity. So I found my magic, but I found it through happenstance, because this is my forte. I mean, this thing about interviewing individuals, finding out what they're doing, and being able to share that information with the world, because you never know who you're going to touch. And in that
No.
touching, you light a candle. And
Yes.
that's ripple effect. And that's why I love doing what I do today.
I love it. I love that. And thank you for sharing your story, including, quite a few falling on our faces, but your overall outlook to it being a practice is beautiful, because I think so many people have this feeling that once I'm here, and that's why I said that when you were telling the story, but you arrived. And the truth is, we've never arrived. And so thinking that there's an end point, that's the end all be all, is a really scary mental place to get into. But thinking of it as a practice means that you're going, you're learning, you're trying, you're attempting, maybe failing, attempting again. And I think life is messy, right? I mean, speaking of VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, right? And you, off of that, and probably from all of this experience, you created that entire framework called It's VUCA that helps to flip that chaos that we all experience into clarity. So maybe some real talk about that. What is one strategy from It's VUCA that anyone listening could really use right now to stop spiraling, stop living in that static, stop maybe feeling like they're just falling and failing, and start steering their ship again?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question. Become aware, take the temperature. Here it is. VUCA has we call it the VUCA line. So you have an above the line and a below the line of VUCA. And what we say is, when you're feeling stressed, or challenged, or you have those negative feelings, stop and ask yourself, am I feeling below the line, or am I feeling at the line or above the line? Because awareness is the very first thing. We cannot fix what we're not aware of, or not
Right.
really fix, but even change. And a lot of, unfortunately, people we are walking around unconscious. I mean, until I started doing all this deep digging, and yourself as well, I'm sure, there were times when I was like, wow, that was really, why did I do that? You know,
Yes.
I was really unconscious. I mean, I have to say, I was a BITCH in the investment business. I really
Yeah.
was. I mean, I had a great assistant, but I didn't treat her so nice sometimes. I mean, I was so unconscious. And
Yeah.
that's actually, that's a segue, but that's what that business was doing to me. So thank God I got out of it. But yes, become aware. So draw yourself a line and say, what am I feeling today? Am I feeling, or even in this hour, you know, am I feeling below the line or above the line? Because then therein lies, you're bringing yourself to the present moment. And
Yes.
in that reflection, you can say, okay, maybe I need to just take a breath here. Or I'm feeling really good. I'm motivated. I'm energized today. And that's, you know, the gift that I want to share with the world. Or, you know, I'm going into a seminar, whatever it might be. First and foremost, take the temperature and find out, bring yourself to awareness, because that's where it all starts. And I think that's a simple thing that everybody can do today, any day, all day long.
And what a
Especially,
clear visual. Just
yes,
that line.
that
Above
line,
or below
it's
it.
above, below. And it also helps when you're in a state of chaos or volatility, because you get go, 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 right? Things are happening in it. And then you say, okay, wait a second. I'm below the line right now. I just need to take a breath and reset. So yeah, that's what I would do.
I
Bring
love
it.
that. You know, that advice is the same advice you gave about that vision, which is taking space to do that. So with the vision, it's really listening to it, right? And making sure that
Feeling it.
you write it down and give it that time to get clear. And in this case, it's just in that moment, right? But becoming aware.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that just that gift of space for ourselves, because when we bring that clarity, whether it's about your vision or just about how we're doing right now, into chaos, being overwhelmed doesn't stand a chance. That
No.
awareness is crucial to being able to share what we want to share and to change the things that we want to change. What a great visual though. I love that. Above the
Yeah.
line, below the line.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's simple.
It
It's
is.
not something that you have to remember or repeat or anything like that. And yeah, so we love to use that. And even a visual, if you have it, we did a seminar with the military, and you know, we gave them a big map and we had the line there, and they love that, because you know, they're
Yeah.
very strategically oriented, and they're like, okay, yeah, this is great. So my team, you bring your team in, let's say, you say, okay, where's everybody feeling today? Find out where your team
Yeah.
is feeling. Find out where your kids are feeling. The kids, it's great for kids. And they say, oh, I'm below the line today, mom. Okay, let's see. Why is that? But
Yeah. Let's talk
why
about it.
not? Kids, it's great. They love to do that.
So
Yeah.
simple. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. And you know, you that's talking about kind of how we're feeling in the moment. And I feel like the deeper piece of all of that that causes us to maybe live below the line on a more constant basis than above it
Mm-hmm.
is really what's happening between our ears, right? And you've said that when your thoughts, I hope I get this right, are no longer a record of your past, but a roadmap to your future, everything changes. And that gives me the chills, because it really is just changing what's right here in our head. But the struggle, as the saying goes, the struggle is real, right? Old patterns always pull us back, it seems. You're listening to another episode of Empowered and Unstoppable. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you ready to take your success to the next level? Visit www.meganbunnellcoaching.com. And so, how does somebody actually train their brain, their thoughts, to become that roadmap instead of a record of your past on repeat?
Repetition is the mother of all skills.
Ooh.
So rinse, repeat. So if you have a negative thought, number one, be aware of it. That's why awareness is at the top. That's
Yes.
below the line. Okay. So I'm aware that I am below the line.
Yes.
What is that I'm feeling? Um, so then give yourself a mantra or a, what's the other word that they call it?
Like a
Not a mantra.
motto?
No, a mantra or I'll think of it, but
Okay.
a mantra,
Okay.
something, have a couple of mantras handy that will lift you up, because what you're doing is you're changing the neuroplasticity of your brain, because what you focus on is what you're repeating. So every time that you say something negative, you're strengthening those neurons,
Yes.
that bridge. But every time you say something positive, you're doing the same. So if you're saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. Like, I'll give you an example. My sister, I'll tell you a story. My sister the other day, she called and she's taking up pickleball. And I said, oh, that's
Ooh,
great. Yeah.
let's go.
And she goes, but I'm so frustrated. And I said, why? Because she says, I'm so bad at it. And it just hit
Mm.
me because I'm very attuned to words. And I said, oh, I said, well, maybe you should change the way you're thinking about that or speaking about that. And she says, what do you mean? And I said, well, next time you go to the court, tell yourself you are the best pickleball player on the court. And she just laughed, she giggled. And I said, but seriously. And then she got it because we've talked about words and thoughts.
Yeah.
And she's taking lessons. And I said, and when you go to take your lesson, go with the attitude and the thought that I am a champion pickleball player, and start to see what happens. Because when you continue to say, I'm so bad at it, do you know what? The universe always says yes. And they'll go, okay, here you go. Because you're emitting that frequency and it's connecting. And that
Yes.
connection is what's going to give you. So have yourself a couple of, or when you're in the moment and you, like my sister, she says, I'm so bad at it, catch yourself and say, wait a minute, no, I'm really good at this, or I can do this. And keep
Mm-hmm.
repeating that and keep doing that, because repetition is the mother of all skills. And you will start to change the neurons in your brain.
I love that. Repeat, rinse, wash, repeat. And really, it's true though, because your mind can either hold you hostage or it can set you free. And it's your choice. And what an easy first step to help with that freedom is just find those things that are the opposite of what's holding you back on repeat, on repeat. Train your brain.
Yeah, simple. That's what you want. You don't want to make it complicated, because let's face it, our lives are so busy. And when, if you give them a process or a strategy, it's like, oh, I can't remember that. I'll have to go back and look at it tonight. No, it's like, okay, awareness. Okay, I said that. Oh, that I can't be saying that. And I catch it all the time with people now because I'm so aware of words. I'll go,
Yeah.
no, no, that's negative. Like they'll say, oh, but you know, Jane, it's so hard to raise money. I go, oh, okay. And they go, I know what you're going to say, because they
Uh-huh.
know me. And I said, yes, don't, you see, you put it out there. So then just say the opposite. So, you know, and that's an easy fix.
It is. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love it. And something else that I really have loved that you've given to the world, because you really you're giving just so much value, and obviously, to your clients and your listeners and your followers and all of that. But one thing that I love the most, and this is just proof of that, is that you're not just giving concepts to the world, that you're providing us with tools. You have a vision play sheet and a creative power download for somebody who doesn't have time to sit down and completely overhaul their life, right? So many of us are in that static, in that wheel. For what you've already given us, for what's available to everybody, what's one powerful way that they can use those tools today to really start to create real momentum?
To really start momentum.
Yeah, where can they start? That's maybe just a few minutes each day, or just one exercise that you really think can help them set off on their journey of where they're supposed to be. Get that momentum going.
Okay, you hit the nail on the head when you said exercise. Because I'm going
Perfect.
to
Tell
put
us,
it out
tell us.
there. Move your energy.
Okay.
Move your body. Seriously, this is such an important thing. And I don't mean you have to join a club or go to a yoga class or Pilates. You don't have to do that. If you want to, that is fabulous. But move your body, because your body is also connected to all of that. We call it the fascia. That's the tissue that spreads out throughout your body, and it talks to everything. So you can swing your arms, you can shake your hands, you can just, do simple things, and do some deep breathing, because that is really, really good to get your energy going, to get your frequency up, and to make you feel good. Because always keep this in mind, how you feel is going to be the key to how you go through life.
Yes.
It's all about the feeling. And so move your body. That's a simple thing you could do. And, like I said, you don't have to dive deep and get into a class. Just move your body. Even some Tai Chi movements, whatever it is that feels good for you. Don't do it so that you're not going to do it. In other words, go into a class that you hate,
Right.
or
Start small.
just start at home, but get up, take a deep breath, move your body, have some warm water, and just start to, you know, gift yourself that time and start your day right.
Jane, these are all so simple things. Give yourself space, become aware, have, mantras ready to go that can counteract those negative thoughts. Move your body. I love it. I love it. We're giving them so many good, simple ways to start making big changes, because really, massive change doesn't necessarily happen in giant leaps, right? I mean, it's one clear, tiny change that can unlock the next 10 steps. I think it's Martin Luther King that said that, right? Like, you don't have to see the whole staircase, you just have to see the first step.
Yeah.
I love it. You're giving them so many easy to implement first steps. Okay, we're going to talk about bridging the gap, if you're okay, between dreaming and doing, because this is what you are just a magician at. So here's the thing. I think we're all dreamers, right? But when we dream without taking action, then that's just our Pinterest board, right? Nothing's happening with it. And so, what do you think is a mindset shift or a practice that can help people actually start to bridge that gap between having this Pinterest board of all these big dreams and taking bold, sometimes messy action?
First, write it down.
Okay.
Second, tell a friend.
Ooh, get some accountability going.
But make it a friend who supports you.
Yes.
Don't tell a naysayer. And you'll know right away, because if they do, then go to someone else. Because
Yes.
you don't want someone who, it's your new circle of friends.
Yeah.
So go someone who's going to say, okay, you're my buddy, and this is what I'm going to do. And hopefully they're going to be real excited for you and say, okay, I'm going to keep you accountable for this. So that's the easiest thing to do. And it's something that you can share with a friend, and they can keep you accountable. You don't have to join a group or have a private coach. And then you can both work on it together. Keep that person accountable for their dream as well.
I love that. Because really, dreams without actions are just bedtime stories, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the real magic is in doing it. And I imagine writing it down, saying it out loud to someone that you know is going to keep bringing it up. That makes it real, right? That makes it a real goal now, instead of just something that you're spitballing about. I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
And how simple is that? Simple things, simple
Yeah,
things.
keep it simple, because if it's too big, it's the big chunk. It's trying to eat the whole cow in one bite. It's not going
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, these are all simple, small things. But you have also said that epic doesn't happen when you hold back, it happens when you go all out. And for me personally, and knowing my kind of background and getting into where I am now, that hits. And I did. I had to believe in myself. I had to just start and I had to go all out. But so many women listening, and I know I was the same before I was willing to just dive in, they're holding back out of fear, right? Out of habit, out of what will people think, out of what if it doesn't, what if it fails, right? Out of any of those thoughts or things like it. So, what do you think going all out in life really looks like? And how can somebody take that leap even when their knees are buckling right underneath them?
Well, yeah, going back to what we were just talking about, going all out, you don't want to start with that because then
No.
you will just, you'll just get overwhelmed.
Yes.
So you start with the small steps, as it's been said. And then once you start to feel confident in that particular area, whatever it is that you're doing, like I was doing, I'll give a story example. I was doing the podcasting, and every time I did it, I had nerves and I felt, I critiqued myself and thought, oh, this is like not working out. And I just stuck to it and I kept going and I kept going. So think of yourself as an athlete. You just keep doing it over, like repetition over and over and over again. And then when you hit a peak, find the coach, find the team, find the group that will help you get to the next level. Because it's always great to surround yourself with people who challenge you. I always love
Yes.
to be around people who are smarter than I am, people who are stronger than I am, because you know what they do is they pull me up. I
Yes.
don't like to be in a group of people that are like, I love your energy, Megan. I
Oh,
really
thank
do.
you.
It's so contagious, and energy is contagious. But I have to be
Yes.
honest. I have interviewed people that are like, I'm like,
Yes.
oh
Yes.
my God, it's like I gotta save something here. And come on, we've all been with those people,
Yes.
So find your group. Once you got your feet wet, once you feel comfortable, and maybe you want to get into a group right away that supports you, but then find your momentum. You need to find those people, those heroes, those coaches that will lift you up and take you to the next level. Don't be
Yes.
afraid to ask for help. I've never been afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid. There are no stupid questions, believe me. None
Yeah.
whatsoever. I've asked a number of them. So
Yeah.
there are no stupid questions. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. So go and take your baby steps, put it down on paper. This is where I want to go. You'll get off track. We all do. We all have a veer here and a veer there. I don't know how many coaching classes I've taken and invested in. I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But you just keep going. Okay. You don't beat yourself up. One of my other sisters, I have many sisters, she was going to get into the real estate industry, and she took her course, she passed, she bought all these beautiful outfits because she figured she's going to be showing houses, and then she decided she didn't want to do that. And then she
Ooh.
said, oh, I feel so bad about myself because I bought all these things and I can't use. I mean, look, thankfully I can use them, but that was a good. But she was still beating herself up about something that she did 2 years ago, and I said, forget about it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You tried. It was something that you figure you had to try. It's like tasting something. Think of it
Yeah.
as a dinner plate of different foods. If you don't try it, you're not going to know. If you don't dip your toe in the water, you're not going to know. But once you get that spark, then go to the next one and find somebody or a group that's going to ignite that fire and kindle it even further. That's what I
And
would do.
yeah, and I love that you said that because I do think that there's a lot of not just women, but people in general that are afraid to ask for help because they're
Yeah.
afraid that means they're broken or that they can't do it on their own, that they have this, feeling like they have to be independent. And just none of that is true. And the truth is that you take those little steps, you get your momentum going, you get halfway, let's say, to where you think you're headed, but halfway doesn't change the world. And yet there are people out there that are on the other half ready to pull
Right.
you with them, ready to lift you up, ready to believe
Yes.
in you more than you ever believed in yourself and share that with you.
Yes.
Even when your voice is shaking, even when your knees are knocking, asking for help and or coaching, or like you said, finding a group it's an incredible tool to help
Mm-hmm.
you go beyond where you probably would go if you were on your own, because you're not on your own. You're
Yeah,
just
and
not.
let's face it, women in particular love to be in groups. We love to
Yes.
help each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, my husband's always like, "Oh my God, you women, you just go on and on and on." It's like, well, that's what we do.
Yes.
It's a
No, I love
gaggle,
that.
but still, yeah. And so it resonates with who we are, the feminine power. That's who we
Absolutely.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, something that I love about your story and kind of that has been laced through what you've been talking about, a backstory. I think that there's probably a lot of women listening right now who are dreaming big, right? They might
Mm,
be dreaming of launching their own business. Maybe they were dreaming like you of going up in their business, but there definitely is a ceiling there. Maybe they're dreaming of writing a book, right? I mean, there's
mm,
tons of dreams out there, but their doubts are really, really loud, right? Like, who am
mm.
I to do this? I can't do that. I've never done that before, right? And yet you seem to have this resilience and belief in yourself that you're like, well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to give it my all, right? I'm going to make this happen. What would you say to these women who have whatever their doubts are for these big dreams to spark their yes and get them moving instead of listening to that part of their brain that's giving them all those doubts?
Take a first step. Just do it.
Just do
I
it.
mean, it's
Get
it's
your toe
it's such
wet.
a it's such a cliche, but and if you're afraid, take a friend or tell a friend that you're going to do it. Yeah, we all get nervous and we get the jitters and we feel insecure. And you can do the deep dive and the psychology and go into the why and maybe how your family was part of it, your upbringing, but to me, yeah, that's very helpful. Don't get me wrong, but don't get stuck there because that's the
Yes.
past. Your
Yeah.
future is in front of you. And let's face it, we're here for such a short period of time. I mean, that's what really motivates me is it's like, how many years? I mean, my husband says it's morbid, but I don't think it is. It's like, how much time do we really have? We're a
Yeah.
blink of an eye. And I read a quote the other day. It says, when you're gone, nobody's going to care.
So true. So true.
And sounds it's not negative, it's just
No.
in your face. It's like, stop thinking that everybody is looking at you, because you know what, nobody cares. Everybody else is too busy with their own thoughts, with their own lives, their insecurities. And yoga, here's a great example. They always say, don't try to do what your partner's doing because everybody's at a different level and blah blah blah. Because there's balance and focus involved in yoga, nobody's looking at anybody else because you won't be able to hold the pose. You have to
Right.
be focused. Well, that's what life is all about. Focus. Don't listen. If you have naysayers, stop calling them. I had a friend that I just stopped. She kept wanting to connect. I'm like, no, we're on different planes. I really don't want anything to do with you. I'm sorry. Have a good life. I just got like, I can't handle you anymore. All you do is complain and talk. And I'm like, I don't want that energy around me. So think
Yeah.
about, okay, awareness once again, bring it full circle. Who are who are you? Okay, if you're giving yourself self-doubt, like I said, move your body, do something that challenges you, that's physical, maybe not so mental, because you want to move, you want to give yourself the permission to be strong. Okay.
Yes.
And that permission starts with movement, or like I said, in your head, but usually it's movement because our brains are informing our bodies. So and the body informs the brain. So we all have energy and you want to just start to move, but you really have to get an attitude, you know,
Ooh. Tell me
start,
about this attitude.
start being around people who have an attitude. It's like, you know what? I'm really great. Okay. every time, Megan, that I do a podcast and I introduce an individual, like you gave a stellar introduction. Thank you so much. That was
You're
out
welcome.
of this world. You get all puffed up and everybody goes, wow, I'm really pretty special. And I said, yeah, it's all you. So, you're
Yes.
special. Read your bio to yourself, or have your friend do it. I mean, or put it on your phone and record it and then listen back and say, I can't believe I've done all that. We don't recognize what we've done and what we've achieved. We're always going to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. It's like, you're already great. You're already special. Just, accept it and move on. So yeah, I even say that to myself sometimes. I go, I'm pretty special. My husband goes, oh my God. So
No, but I love that. And that
attitude.
energy and that belief is what is required to go for those things that light your spark, right? Or,
Yeah.
to go for those things that seem challenging, that you get knocked down from. It's necessary, because otherwise you'll take circumstances as truth of it not being right, or it not being for you. And like, no, it is for me. I can do
Yeah.
this one little
Yeah.
tiny step at a time. Like, I can do this. I'm pretty great. I'm pretty special.
I'm pretty special. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that.
All special, but you have
I-
to, that's the mantra, right? I'm
yes.
special. I'm special. I'm special. If you have a doubt, there's the awareness. What are you going to repeat to yourself? I'm special. I'm great. Whatever that might be. Make it real simple, real short, but just keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it. Keep saying
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, and that's contagious too. You, not necessarily you saying it out loud to anybody, but you carrying yourself, believing in yourself,
Yes.
and giving that energy out in the world. That's contagious. Your yes to your passion might just spark somebody else's, ignition to go after their yes. So it isn't just in your own little world either. Like, that's what you're sharing with the world, which is amazing.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
here's one other thing, Megan, especially in today's world, embodied cognition. Our bodies are a reflection of our energy. So
Yes.
with everybody being on their computers, on their phones, like this,
Nonstop.
and
Yes.
I really feel bad for the young people, but if you look at their body postures, even when they don't have the phone, or even when you're at home, you're like this. Straighten your spine. I'm going to tell you, it's going to change your energy. Lift your head. Be aware. See, the awareness is so important. Be aware that you're like this. I find myself all the time, not all the time, but at the sink, I'll be like, oh, straighten up, because the Pilates is really helping with that. Just be aware of how you're carrying yourself, because your body is speaking to your mind and your mind to your body. But if you're like this, what is it saying? I'm small, I'm
Yes.
insignificant, I'm
We
frightened.
yes.
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
yeah, it makes a big difference.
It
Yeah.
really does. I remember I used to coach people on interview prep and getting ready for
Mm,
an interview. And before everything else, that's something that I mentioned briefly, was how they're sitting, how they're carrying themselves, not for the interviewer, but for them.
mhm.
And then before their interview, that was a big exercise we did, was really embodying the energy we wanted to have in that energy. And it makes a huge difference. That was the feedback I got more than anything else, was how amazing it felt walking in tall, proud, strong, ready. And then they interviewed tall, proud, strong, ready, so
Right. Yeah.
I love it.
Speak to yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give you
Yes.
an interesting thing about how that scientifically embodied cognition.
Ooh, do.
You,
I'm
you,
such a science nerd, Jane.
oh
I'm such
yeah.
a
Oh,
science nerd.
great. Oh, I love it. You and I could talk for hours. Okay. Amy Covey is the one who
Mhm,
you've seen her TED talk, right?
mhm.
So a blind person, and I'm just repeating what she had in her TED talk. Here's how strong embodied cognition is. A blind person, when they feel victory, they will do the victory sign, even though they've never seen anybody do it, because that's embodied cognition. Their body just knows to do that. I found that fascinating.
It is
Just
fascinating.
fascinating. So yeah, your body is really speaking to you, and nobody ever talks about that, but it's really, you have to, it's you're the whole package,
Yes, I
and
love it.
smack yourself.
All the things, all the things.
Wake up.
Okay, well, I have one more question for our audience, for you. And I always end with this one. If you could magically leave a sticky note on the mirror of every listener right now to read every morning, what would that sticky note say?
She came, she created, she conquered.
She came, she created, she conquered. I love it. I love it. Okay, ladies, go write it down on a sticky note and go put it on your mirror and read that every single morning. She came, she created, she conquered. Absolutely. I love that. I love that so much. So powerful. Well, Jane, you have shared so much with us, along with just simple takeaways, golden nuggets of space and awareness and movement and mantras and all of the things that we can very easily put into our life starting today to truly start to make that big difference that some of us I know are looking for. And I have just enjoyed our electric time together. Thank you for bringing your brilliance and humor, your stories, and your heart to our show. And if you out there want to get some more Jane like I do, Jane, how do we get more of you? Where do we find you? How could we work with you?
My go-to on social media is Instagram. So
Okay.
you can find all the teasers for all the podcasts that get released, but you can also DM me.
Okay.
You can go to my website, but I have to say Instagram is probably my go-to. JaneApplegath.com is my website. Instagram is at Jane Applegath, and also I'm on LinkedIn. And so, yeah, I'm not very much on Facebook at all, but you can find me in those places.
Perfect. Well, friends, if you are like me and you are absolutely ready to stop playing small, start living with vision and some clarity and the freedom that that gives you, go check out Jane's work. All of those will be down in the show notes so you can easily find her. Her Epic Vision Zone, her show, and the It's VUCA framework are packed with ways to really help you step into your full potential and feel it and love it. So, Jane, thank you for being here today. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Megan. I am so glad we have met. I want to stay in touch, and yes. I am just loving our energy share and our conversation.
Absolutely.
It's been epic.
Oh, yes, epic. There we go for that. And to my friends, thank you for joining us today on Empowered and Unstoppable. Jane was amazing and gave us some incredible nuggets and guidance. You can go back and listen if you need to catch those again. If you know of a friend or a family member that you know needs to hear this message and really wants to start making step towards their aspiration and their full potential, please share. And so that we can continue to help reach as many women as possible. Give us a like, give us a comment. We would love to continue changing lives one episode at a time. You can also follow me on social media if you would like. Leave your comments there, DM me. I am the one that responds to each and every one. But friends, until next time, stay brave, stay visionary, give yourself that space. Make sure you're moving. Make sure that you are becoming very aware of your thoughts and how you're feeling below the line or above the line. I love that one. And remember, epic doesn't happen when you hold back. So believe in yourself, take that first step, and when you're ready, go all out. I'll see you next week right here on Empowered and Unstoppable. Thanks for tuning in to Empowered and Unstoppable. If today's episode spoke to you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs a boost of empowerment. Are you ready to take your success to the next level? Visit www.meganbunnellcoaching.com. Remember, you're not just capable, you're unstoppable. See you next time.